I've decided to put together a list of the 5 best games created using 3 major games engines: Unity, Unreal Engine, and Godot. I reached out to the game engine subreddits and asked their communities what games they considered the best. Additionally, I analyzed the data provided by the Steam's database to come up with this final list of 15 games, 5 for each engine, that will show you what each engine is capable of. As you may know, 3 weeks ago I published a video titled Why I Still Choose Unity over Unreal Engine and Godot, and it sparked a massive debate. Just take a look at the comment count. It's 1 comment for every 50 views. To put it into perspective, the most viewed MrBeast video has 1 comment per 1000 views, which is 20 times less. Given the sheer level of interest in this game engine's topic, I decided to go the extra mile and compose a list of the best games created in Godot, Unreal Engine and Unity. Because I believe that games created with these engines are the most accurate and trustworthy indicators of their capabilities. Also, I spent a humongous amount of time and effort putting together this video, so please give it a like and consider subscribing to this channel if you want more content like this. But before we delve into the list of the best games, let's address the most crucial question that you might be eager to throw in my face. How do you even define the best games made using a certain engine? Well, I guess nobody knows the answer better than the people who are using these engines to create games. That's why I went to Reddit and created 3 similar threads in the Godot, Unreal Engine and Unity subreddits, asking what games made in their engine they consider the best. And boy did they answer! Just take a look at these numbers. In Godot's subreddit, my thread received 89 responses, while Unreal Engine's thread gathered 154 comments. And if you think that's a lot, wait until I show you my Unity thread with its whopping 277 comments. Quite a bit of information to process, isn't it? I'll leave links to these threads in the description so you can take a look at them if you want. Initially, I planned to make a top 3 list of the best games for each engine, but given the activity and the number of games mentioned in every thread, I decided to expand it to the top 5 games. I carefully counted every game mentioned in the comments and sorted them according to how many users quoted them as the best. I also referred to Steam's database. As you may know, they have an option to sort games by engine, so I just selected a few games with the highest number of followers to complement the list granted by Reddit's community. And voila! The list of the top 5 games created with each engine is finally ready. Let's start with Godot. Godot's Reddit thread gathered a total of 16 games. Only 6 of them were mentioned more than once, and only 3 made it to the final list. The other 2 were added from Steam's rankings. On the 5th place is the games that made it to both the Redditors list and the list of Steam games. Halls of Torment gathered more than 16,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. It's a game in the survival genre that became especially popular after the release of Vampire Survivors a little more than a year ago. The authors of Dawnkeeper categorized this game as a roguelike survival minor. I'm starting to believe that Godot is really good at creating these survival games. Well, at least Dawnkeeper was published a month before Vampire Survivors. As a player, you are supposed to dig for resources and use them to build your base, defending your dome against various monsters. This game holds the first place in terms of followers on Steam and boasts more than 8,000 very positive reviews. Next up is Cassette Beasts, a turn-based open-world RPG game where you're supposed to collect monsters and use them in battle. You can also fuse them to create unique and more powerful ones. This game is a perfect third place. It is third on the list of games selected by Reddit users, as well as in the ranking provided by Steam. So, in my list it also holds the third place. And by the way, it gained more than 4,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. Second place goes to Godot, which is, surprise surprise, an arena shooter roguelite game. It has a very familiar top-down setting, where you are expected to annihilate hordes of enemies trying to survive. In my opinion, this game is one of the best. It looks and feels absolutely amazing, and almost 60,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam confirm this. Finally, the first place belongs to the Cruelty Squad. This game was mentioned in the comments of the Godot's Reddit thread a whopping 11 times. The authors describe it as an immersive power fantasy simulator with tactical stealth elements set in the sewage-infused garbage world. It's definitely not my type of game, but it looks like players absolutely love it, manifesting their loyalty with more than 13,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. Next up is Unreal Engine. Unlike Godot, where almost all games have a strong indie vibe, Unreal Engine shines with carefully crafted AAA games. The Reddit thread of Unreal Engine gathered a total of 60 games, but as in the previous case, only the top 3 of them made it to the final list. The other 2 came from Steam's rankings.
Try to stick together this time.
Fifth place goes to Deep Rock Galactic, a co-op first-person shooter featuring space dwarves, a 100% destructible environment, procedurally generated caves, and endless hordes of alien monsters. Strangely, this game was never mentioned in the Reddit thread, but it made it to this list because it ranked top 2 on Steam with a whopping 2,380,000 followers. Also, this game gathered more than 200,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews, which is 3 times more than the most reviewed Godot game.
Amelia, what's the deal then?
2 up top, 2 downstairs.
Alright, so we just go prancing in the front door as per usual then, huh?
Not today, hermano. We must be like ghosts.
However, even this amount of reviews fades in comparison to this next game, which amassed 10 times more. 2,200,000 reviews on Steam. Not all of them are positive though, but the amount is extremely impressive. Most of you probably have heard of this game. PUBG is a highly popular battle royale shooter where as a player you should defeat all the enemies and claim victory as the last one standing.
I see where this is going.
For the hero, the only true conclusion is death.
Now third place goes to Batman Arkham Knight. The game was built around an extremely popular franchise and pushed Unreal Engine 3 capabilities to the limit. Published more than 8 years ago, the game still looks and feels absolutely fantastic to this day. Probably that's the reason why it amassed more than 70,000 very positive reviews on Steam.
Once again, it's time to win. Lace the bad boys up, baby, let's begin. I don't work too hard just to give up.
Next up is Unreal Engine's signature title, Fortnite. It's yet another first-person shooter in the Battle Royale genre. Fortnite is exclusive to Unreal's in-house store called the Epic Games Store. That's why we don't have all the detailed statistics usually available on Steam. But one thing is certain. Fortnite is an exceptionally successful game whose overall estimated revenue exceeded 26 billion. Out of this, over 6 billion came in 2022 alone. Finally, the first place goes to Unreal and Unreal Tournament games. Redditors mentioned them in pairs, so I won't separate them either. These games gave a name to Unreal Engine itself, so let's bow our heads in respect. These two games take the top spot in the Unreal Engine's Reddit thread, being mentioned a total of 14 times. And you know what? Unreal Tournament is yet another Battle Royale game, marking the dominance of this genre among games made with Unreal Engine. Now it's time for the top 5 best games made with Unity. As you can see from this list of the top technologies used for creating games on Steam, Unity boasts almost twice as many games as all other technologies combined. So, choosing the top 5 games was extremely challenging. The Reddit thread posted in Unity's subreddit brought up a list of 122 different games. But as always, after sorting them according to their mention count, I narrowed it down to the top 3 and added 2 more from the Steam rankings. In 5th place is the original version of Cities Skylines, a hyper-realistic modern city simulator. Playing as the mayor of your city, you'll be faced with balancing essential requirements such as education, water, electricity, police, firefighting, and much more. The game gathered more than 180,000 very positive reviews on Steam. Next up is Unity's takes on the Battle Royale genre. The game, titled Rust. As the authors of the games put it, the only aim in Rust is to survive. Everything wants you to die. The island's wildlife and other inhabitants, the environment, other survivors. Do whatever it takes to last another night. The game boasts more than 800,000 very positive reviews. The interesting thing about Rust though is that while it was mentioned about 20 times in the Reddit thread, in long lists and by itself, some users even wrote lengthy descriptions of why Rust should definitely be considered as one of the best games. Still, many users kept asking why no one is mentioning Rust over and over and over again. Now 3rd place goes to my personal favorite pair of games. Subreddit users kept mentioning them together, hence I decided to put them both into the final list. I'm talking about the beautiful, gorgeous Metroidvania Ori and the Blind Forest and its highly successful sequel Ori and the Will of the Wisps. Combined, they gathered more than 150,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. My daughter and I spent countless hours helping the strange creature named Ori find its way back home and find a new family. Next up is another Metroidvania called Hollow Knight. Published 6 years ago, this game has already become a golden standard in its niche. As a player, you control the knight, a nameless insect warrior who explores Hollownest, a fallen kingdom plagued by a supernatural disease. The game has managed to collect more than 280,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam, and was praised by both critics and players for its music, art style, world building, atmosphere, combat, and level of difficulty. Finally, the first place goes to Subnautica, mentioned by Reddit users 29 times. It's an underwater adventure game set on an alien ocean planet, featuring a massive open world full of wonder and peril. After your spaceship crash-landed on the alien planet, your only way to survive is to explore what the ocean hides from you. The game gathered more than 220,000 overwhelmingly positive reviews on Steam. I hope this list of the best games created with each of the major game engines gives you an understanding of what can be accomplished with each of these instruments. Does this list cover all the games you expected, or did I miss some that should have been mentioned? Let me know in the comments. And if you're still curious about why I choose Unity over Unreal Engine and Godot, watch this video where I give detailed explanation on the topic. Thank you for watching, and see you in the next video.